is that? What the actual is that? Massive big black cat. No, when I say massive, it's bigger than a dog. Holy
because I'd heard loads of reports from around our area of big cats around, but never ever seen one of these beasts myself. So it was like, oh, I've seen one of the big cats at last.
Seeing is believing, and I have no proof of what I saw that day other than what I can describe. It was huge. It was like the weightlifter of cats.
Welcome to Big Cat Conversations. We speak directly to people who've encountered one of Britain's big cats. We also discuss the bigger picture. I'm Rick Minter, and thanks for joining me. Welcome to episode 57 of Big Cat Conversations. We promised you a Gloucestershire guest. He is coming soon, but this time Ireland has jumped the queue because on 1st of August just gone, there was a sighting, including a video snippet, of a possible black panther, a black leopard perhaps, near Wexford in the Republic of Ireland. You have just heard the astonished reaction of the witness as he noticed the animal, grabbed his phone camera and started filming. You can see a still photo taken from the video on our website under episode 57. So we are delighted that La, who had the sighting, can join us at short notice in what has been a whirlwind of a week for him, because we're recording this discussion 5 days after the event. La, thanks for coming on the show and welcome.
No bother, thank you for having me on.
La, your head must be spinning with all the reaction that a video clip of a possible big cat can bring, even though it's not as clear as you and everyone would like, but of course it gives us lots of talking points.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I don't know if anyone else has the experience. You're kind of going through your mind, like, did I really experience that? And you know, like, because it's kind of like that shock. It's like a shock to your system. Like, it's crazy. Like, listening to a couple of other podcasts there, I probably would have been skeptical in the past of things like this until I've seen this myself, and now it's just blown it up like completely for me, you know.
We can forgive the colourful language. Obviously, we bleeped out those words, but I think we can all imagine how you felt, because it does make it feel very sort of real and at the moment. So in a way, you've answered the first sort of point, because we often say this to the guests, you know, before the sighting, had you heard of big cats being possibly loose in the country? And if so, had you any views on the matter? Well, first of all, had you heard of big cats probably being wild in Ireland at all?
To be honest with you, no. I think when I was, like years ago when I was a kid, I think I seen something in the paper of something up the north of Ireland. But it's not something I would have kind of come across down here at all. Like, as soon as this all happened, and I kind of was not over the shock of it, because I'm still a little bit kind of what the hell. But I was, I went straight onto Facebook looking for these groups, because I was just like, no one else is going to go without seeing this cat, is what I'm thinking. Like, so I went onto the Facebook group and found that group, the Irish one, which the name escapes me right now in my head. But a great bunch of people on that group. Like, really, I sent a private message first of all, because I was a little bit nervous of putting stuff on Facebook, because I didn't know what way it would go. But when I was talking on Facebook, I think a woman, Annie, sent me a message back straight away saying, "Oh, look, here to support you," and all the rest of it. And which was great. And there was a couple of lads, other lads. I didn't actually put the video up or the picture up. I kind of put up a question about it first. I was kind of feeling my way around it, like, has anyone else experienced that around here in Wexford, like, kind of area? Yeah, it's crazy. It's still like reliving in my mind, like, what happened, like, It's mad. It's madness.
It's so nice to hear that a Facebook group like that, which was almost set up, it's one of the reasons they're set up. But of course, if there's no action, they have to review past stuff and discuss other issues. But as soon as there's action like you provided, in a way they can move into support and give you ideas and give you moral support. It's so nice to hear your reaction that worked. That's the system working, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And the one thing I found really good about it as well was I privately sent my footage to one guy, a lovely guy, Jim. He's from Dublin here. He wasn't jumping on it and saying, "That's a cat, oh my God, blah, blah, blah." He kind of said, "Oh, the video's not that clear. I'm going to send it to a friend of mine to get analysis. He has a lab or something in Dublin, I think." And I says, yeah, no bother, man. That'd be great. Like if someone could put it up and have exactly, zoom in on it properly, because I wouldn't have the technology to do it. And then he came back and said that his friend had confirmed that it's definitely a big cat. He had put it up on a 65-inch screen, I think. And then we had sent my brother actually screenshotted it, just randomly screenshotted the video at the point where you could see it most. And I think my own partner was a little bit skeptical until she saw that. And she saw that and she was like, "Oh my God, yeah, that's definitely a cat." Like, and in terms of size comparison, like the next day now, I would be skeptical to the point where if someone said, "I've seen a big cat in a field," I would say, if you didn't know range of distance, like if you weren't good at calculating distance, now rightly or wrongly, there's people on this podcast probably won't agree, but I do a little bit of shooting, very odd bit, a few rabbits here and there. Mm-hmm. So I'd more go out just for the walk. We'd walk for a few miles in the fields nearby here, and there's just fields everywhere, and it's a nice walk, and you'd see foxes, and you'd sit and just kind of look at them going through and going on their way, like. So I know the difference of the size of a fox or something like that and the movement of an animal in a field. Like, you wouldn't just mistake, "Oh, that's a tomcat and it looks, there was an old Father Ted joke here years ago. This is small and that's far away." Like, so anyone that'll be listening will probably be laughing at that know what I'm talking about. No, I'd have a good idea of the size of an animal in a field. When I seen this, and my partner said, "Geez, that's definitely a cat," like. And it was actually, that's when she was like really interested then, because she was like, she'd be very straight, like, straight out. But she said, "Well, that would explain the helicopter flying over lately." And I says, "Well, it didn't twig with me at all. But there's actually been a helicopter flying over here for a few days before and after that. A little privately owned red helicopter." And I'm kind of thinking, we'd never seen that before. And it was kind of not circling, but it was going over this field back and forth. There's a small little village I live in. So at the back of us is all hills and fields. I personally, my view on it is that it's after getting out somewhere. I don't know if it's living, or maybe I'm wrong, but I just got the feeling and the vibe. And I remember I listened to one of your podcasts there. One of the girls was on, and she had said that she was with her 2 dogs. And something just told her to look over her shoulder at and she saw, I can't remember that girl's name, but it was weird because I had that similar sort of feeling and sense that, when I came into the kitchen here, I have a 7-foot window that looks out into the fields, like basically, and I went to the sink, and normally if there's a dog, there's a very odd time to be a dog in that field. Our dogs will go mad, so you'd know about it. We've 2 dogs here. I kind of glanced up, seeing what I thought at the start was a black dog, because there's kind of bushes, and it's kind of like you could sort of half see through it, like. And then I thought to myself, that's not a dog, like. Looked up, and the colour struck me straight away. It was like this black that you wouldn't see on an animal that you'd be used to seeing.
The intensity of the black.
Yes, and the tail is the biggest thing. I still have shivers down my spine, like when the tail just stood up, almost kind of curled, and then like kind of flicked. And that was when I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, and from that distance, because seeing the tail from that distance.
Oh no! The picture I sent you is after I got my phone. So he was only about 50 yards away from me.
Oh, okay.
So let's say I look out my back window and I look kind of slightly to the right of where I'm looking out. That's kind of like the middle of the field, let's say. But by the time, this is the other thing that struck me. By the time I grabbed my phone, and you'll see it in the video, I was jumping over the dog and everything at the back door to get out and jump. And I jumped up onto the sleepers to give me a bit of, because the split level garden here. So by the time I done that, That's why the video, I'd say, is so bad, because I was actually looking. I had the video, I had the camera on, but I was kind of looking to see. I was like, where did it go? Like, I was thinking, because it went across a massive field in seconds, and it wasn't like it laboured across. It just like it glided across that field. Like, it was crazy. Like,
yeah, that's part of their locomotion. They look like they're on a conveyor belt sometimes, don't they?
yeah, and it still shivers now. It was just like another animal would be laboured and sort of hopping, and I don't know. It just glided across that field. And then I eventually got it on the camera, because I was looking at it going, oh my God, you can see it in the video saying that. And I could probably see it much clearer than on the camera, obviously. And I could see it then. It's like, now, to me, I listened to some of the podcasts that you had there in the last couple of days. I didn't get to listen to them all. I'm looking forward to listening to them all. But people were saying the cat was calm. A lot of them, there was a guy in a taxi said this was calm, and it looked at him, and another girl said it was calm, and that this didn't seem calm to me now, personally. This big cat seemed stressed.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because that's the one thing, when I was listening to I got a couple of minutes to listen to, like, kind of clippets of some of their podcasts, and some of them all, it seemed to be the trend of people saying they were quite calm animal, and then it would just jump away, and that would be it. This looked like it was, got this vibe off that it was a male cat that was stressed and a little bit possibly aggressive.
Because it was going backwards and forwards at one step. Well, when you filmed it, wasn't it going backwards and forwards?
Yeah, but that's what it was doing when I first looked out at it too. It was like it was kind of going, pacing like in kind of almost a circular motion, like. And then when I picked up the phone, almost like it probably knew, or it sensed or something, that I was looking at it or watching it or something. It just moved across that field. By the time, the couple of seconds it took me to get out, it had moved across that field like lightning. Then when I was looking at it again, it was kind of like pacing up and down, like a stressed pace up and down. Like, then you see it on the video there in the clip. I'm raging about the footage of it as well, but you can see it going off down into the bottom corner of the field. Now down there, there's a big massive stream that runs along that tree line.
Mm-hmm.
But we went down. You could see there's just a couple of acres of trees there at the back of a hurling pitch. Probably maybe about 2 acres where you just can't get in. You wouldn't walk through it easily, like, you know. Now we went down because a lot of the lads and stuff that had messaged me were saying, oh, you need to get a size comparison. You need to see if there's any prints. And
yeah,
we found one. My brother found one that looked like a print. So we took a picture of that. I don't think I sent that to you, but it was just one kind of paw. We kind of put his hand beside it. Now, whether it is or not, I don't know. Like, it's hard to say. Like, it's not very clear.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just mad.
What an intense experience, and it does seem a little bit different from the norm, so we'll explore some of those points in a minute. Let's start with the photo. It's great that Jim, I think is one of the admins for the group, one of his colleagues, was able to do that analysis of the footage. What I would say is that's a blob, but it's a good blob, isn't it? You can see its distance.
You see it's a cat, yeah.
You can see the long tail, thick long tail, you can see the small head, you can see the long body, and you can see lack of collar. So all of those are ticking boxes for a cat, a big bulky cat. So if you can do some kind of scale reference on that, I mean, I think from the video you can get the impression that it's a big bulky animal.
Yeah, we did a bit of a size kind of an analysis, but what we did was I had to bring the rifle with me in case that did jump out. We brought the German Shepherd dog and we brought the rifle down to that part of the field. But my partner took the pictures, so you could it was kind of a little bit more to the right, but at the same distance. I'll send it on to you actually. And you can see like the German Shepherd, the length of the German Shepherd, and this cat is just, it's almost like half the German Shepherd again. In length, like a little bit lower down maybe, and just a really long animal. Like, it's just I'm getting, like, it's mad, like, it's crazy. Like,
it's interesting that you made the assumption it was a male. Is that just because of the scale of it?
To be honest, I wouldn't know cats. It was actually one of the lads I will mention in the group had said to me, I'm 100% that's a black panther, he said to me. So I wouldn't know the difference between a leopard, I just wouldn't know cats, like, it wouldn't be a thing. So, like, it was just that someone had said that to me. And then when I kind of Googled it after, I was like, oh, geez, that's like the animal I seen. Now, in saying that, when I Googled them, The one I saw and the one that I Googled, looked bigger, like heavier, like, more muscular. The biggest thing about this feature is the colour of it, the length of it, and the big massive tail on it was the biggest thing that I took from it. Like, it's something that you wouldn't see. Like, it's just not what you see. And then the movement of it was just like, nah, this is mental, like,
It strikes me, though, that although you're saying you got the sense it might have been a bit stressed and bothered, it could still be a wild one, though, especially if it was fairly slim. Would you say it was slim and healthy and fit?
Yes, yeah. And you could see, like, big enough paws on it as well. Not that you could closely see paws, and especially not in the footage, but it just, you knew by it, like, this was just, some solid. Now, I need to go off and probably do more Googling on which cats that it could be. I didn't have a chance lately with the last few days, been mental here. And when we went down there as well, Rick, we went down to the fields, and obviously we were looking for sort of signs, and obviously you could see like little trail mark going down into where the stream is. Now, that could be a dog or anything, but our dog went down sniffing and all the rest of it. But you could see, I don't know if this is a normal thing as well, but there was like little branches snapped off a couple of the trees. And this is a field that there wouldn't be many people in. There wouldn't be anyone going through that field, really. Like,
what about the German Shepherd's reaction? Sometimes dogs and horses and local animals do pick up the vibes of a cat around.
There was, like, for a while there, the dogs would go ballistic at night time, and came, like, the German Shepherd would run to the back wall, and she would just be pacing up and down and jumping up on the wall. It's not a high wall, jumping on the wall. Like, our back wall's only a couple of feet high, like, and then there's a ditch behind it. And she'd be jumping up and she'd be going ballistic. Like, we'd be doing the usual, going out and giving out. Like, but there was a couple of nights there where she really was like, she was going mad for ages. Now, that could be anything. Never even thought that it could be, But in saying that, Rick, when this big cat was out there, she was quiet. It was like she didn't know.
Okay.
That was the strange thing.
So you feel it was stealthy enough, and wind direction wasn't making your dog detect anything, so it was just quiet and the dog didn't pick it up, which can happen.
Yeah. No, she was just sitting. The dog was just lying at the back door.
Say that this was part of the territorial route of this cat, and it had done it before, or it might do it again, because it is just a wild cat and it's got a territory, and this is part of the route, albeit not very often travelled. What would take it through there? Are there deer or rabbits, or is there a reason that a wild cat like that would travel that way from time to time, do you think?
Right, so there's no deer that I know of around here.
Okay.
And there'd be quite a few houses, man. This is why it's strange. There'd be quite a few houses kind of like, on their own, in and around. As I look out at that video, to the left, there's a couple of houses, like further on down, and you can see in the distance there's a house as well, one house on its own. The only thing that I see, there'll be quite a lot of rabbits and stuff like that around, and then there's the stream there and stuff like that, and it kind of goes into a valley. And to be honest, without naming the area too much, because I know you're kind of a little bit on that, you don't want to, but where we are is there's kind of a historical place at the back of me that I look onto. And on that it's a massive big hill, basically. And when you go up there, it's really, really high. And you look down on the other side of it, let's say, it's just fields for miles, like, and there's a forest and stuff like that. So on this side of the hill, though, it's a little bit more like you'd have cows in the field, you'd have stuff like this. Now, that being said, we spoke to the farmers recently who were saying there was a lot of sheep getting taken. Now, this is probably about 3 or 4 miles from where my house is, where we do a little bit of shooting. So we'd go in and just pop a few rabbits every now and again. He would say, like, oh, if you see a fox, hit one. Now, I personally wouldn't want to hit a fox, but they'd be saying to you, oh, get rid of them foxes in here. They're destroying the place. They're eating everything in here. And they reckon there's a big increase in foxes. Now, that being said, we've seen a lot of foxes up there lately as well. But like, we'd often be, I never would have thought about a big cat, because we'd often be walking through these fields where you can see for miles. And you never, like, it would be in the evening times, in the morning time, you'd never see anything like this. So to have it right outside, I know a few people that I listened to a couple of podcasts, and a couple of people were almost happy. It's lovely that it's there, and I wouldn't want anyone coming along and shooting it. Now, I wouldn't want anyone coming along and shooting it either. But at the same time, I'm a little bit worried with the kids here. We have a 12-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I'm not easy about it now. I'm not settled. Like, this was like our home where we are 100% safe. Look, I know I listened to a few, and a few people have advised me saying, look, don't worry, they don't go for humans and, that sort of thing. But it would, like, after seeing it, you're kind of going, when you see it up close like I did, you think to yourself, you would, as a human, would not have a chance if that thing came running at you. Like this is mad. Like that's the way I look at it. I'm looking at it going, if you got attacked by a badger, or a fox came at you, or you'd say to yourself, right, you'd have a bit of, or even a dog. Like even if my German Shepherd came at me, she'd be a very big German Shepherd, by the way. I'd be confident that I could handle her. Like, but this thing, all my confidence out the window. If that thing jumped up on the wall here now, like, it's locked the doors. This is like, that's why I'm a little bit worried. Like, the hair stands up on your neck, because like we used to leave, if the young lad was the baby was asleep, in the cooler in the hot weather there a few weeks ago, we'd leave the buggy outside. I was sitting inside watching them. Like, that's out the window now. I won't be doing that. Like, now I know I'm probably I'm not educated enough on the big cats, but it has left me a bit rattled, to be honest.
I think people can understand that. You have seen a large carnivore walking wild, 50 metres from the back of your house, where you've got 2 young kids. The evidence is that in their native countries, these animals very, very rarely proactively turn on humans. In Britain and Ireland, it's reckoned we've had them for decades. Okay, not in big numbers, but where's the evidence that they've been proactively hassling humans?
Yeah,
that's what you've got to weigh up. But of course, you've just sensed the capabilities of it, haven't you? From a good viewing of it.
It could be me thinking, baby's only one, and you're in defensive mode almost all the time, like with your baby inside. It could be that in me.
Yeah, sure.
But even if, to be honest with you, if I was in one of the fields where I have my rifle in my hand and I can see for miles, I'd still be looking at this thing going, I'm not taking a shot at this thing, because if it comes at you,
Incidentally, your rifle wouldn't have the caliber to take it down anyway, presumably.
Absolutely, it wouldn't. It's only a 22, like, it's only for shooting rabbits, like.
It would just antagonise it, presumably, if you took a shot at it.
Exactly. I appreciate the people that were on your podcast that were saying, like, and respect, like, they were saying, it's a beautiful animal. It is. What I saw was an unbelievable animal. Beautiful. And to be honest with you, like, when you see, like, not that I've seen too many, but if you see them in the zoo and stuff, they look a bit kind of, obviously, a completely different circumstance, but they kind of look lazy and they look a bit lethargic and they're kind of just moving around. This thing was just, it was unbelievable. Like, you knew, like you said at the start there, it was, the best way I could say is athletic. Like, this is ready to go. Like, this is not messing about here. Like,
you sensed its power and its capability.
Absolutely, yeah. And I was saying to my neighbour, actually, I was telling her, and she was kind of saying, there's a couple of people laughing about you in the, because I said it in the WhatsApp group of the little neighbourhood that we have here. There's only about 20 houses in this cul-de-sac, and I said, just be careful, just in case, and if anyone see, because I wanted to see that anyone else see something, or they know someone that's seen something and no one believed them. So I was kind of wanted to put it out there a little bit, but a couple of people were kind of laughing and having a laugh, and my neighbour was sort of saying, no, I believe you. Like, I said, look, I don't care if no one believes me, but at least I've said it to them, and there's only a matter of time, in my opinion. What I saw the other day, it's only a matter of time before someone sees that animal again around here, because there's plenty of people around. And this is not going to be a mistake when you see this. It's not going to be, was that a tomcat I saw? There's a tomcat that comes in and out of the garden here. It's a big tomcat. It's different. It's in
a different league.
Yeah.
It could be 20, 30 miles away now and never come back on that route again. And so people will never and be able to verify it for you with a confirmed, verified sighting from a neighbour. But also the point you're getting about different reactions, some people scoffing, some people backing you up, some people open-minded. That happens all over the place. There's been recent sightings in residential areas south of Edinburgh where the local WhatsApp or neighbourhood Facebook groups have been discussing sightings. Some people have seen them, other people can't believe it and are too astonished.
Yeah.
All kinds of different reactions. Wendy from Lincolnshire, when she went round all her neighbours talking about it, again the same. But at least these people like you felt that they've done their duty as a neighbour, resident, citizen, telling people, and they can make their own minds up. Yeah, but at least you did get a photo. We'll relive the photo bit in a minute, but I just want to quickly review this helicopter, because this helicopter thing, of course, it could be, that it's a complete coincidence. Presumably, they would have an aerial camera. Lots of helicopters now have got inbuilt cameras.
Yeah.
But the thing about a helicopter is the noise would disturb it and make it run off or lay low. They wouldn't like the clattering, thundering noise of a helicopter.
This helicopter, I had actually forgotten about it with the whole drama of everything else going on with this. I had forgotten about the helicopter. But the day previous to this, we were in the garden here, and a helicopter flew over to the right of us and was gone for a couple of minutes and then came back over again, that same sort of field. And it wasn't hovering over our house, but it was kind of slowing down, if that makes sense, but still sort of, and it was up a good bit, but it's one of these small little private helicopters, and went over. And then I think Ines seen it then later on in the day. And then the next day, the day I saw the big cat, it was out that day as well. And then the day after as well, it was out. And we've never seen this helicopter. And when I said, I won't mention who, but there's someone I know, I'll be very careful how I word this, but she would be, how do I put it? She would have worked on exotic pets in the past in Ireland, let's say. And when I told her, because I said, listen, I need your advice on this, she laughed and she said to me, 100% I believe it, because she would know of situations where people would have been called to go and help some of these pets, but it's kept on the down low and stuff like that. And also, there is people, as she had said, there is people in this country that owned these big cats, and they can't, when they go missing, and this is why, you probably think it's wild, but this is why I was kind of going on that side of things, because she was kind of saying when they go missing, they can't even report them because they'll get into trouble. So they kind of go out, and she said that's why that situation with the helicopter could be significant, because it could be someone that's lost their pet, basically, and they're out looking for it. It could be that incident, or maybe not,
Okay, well, I'm open-minded, La. That is a very interesting take on it, and I certainly am open-minded. And that's a very interesting dimension to it. We must remember that, they can still escape. We tend to think that all the ones that are seen are wild and know their place, because they're confident. It's still a possibility that ones have got out recently. So when you say it looked stressed, did it look a little bit out of sorts and not confident about its surroundings?
Yes, this is why now I'm probably contradicting myself slightly in the way that I say that this is really athletic, but yet it could be from someone's private, little zoo out the back, if they have a load of land or something. But what I gathered from it was, now maybe me reading the situation, but it was kind of certain, as I said. And when it moved, and it's like that sixth sense or something that girl was talking about, and that really struck a chord with me. She got this thing to look around, and it just happened to be behind her. She got this, as if someone was watching her. I think the animal got that from me and just went across that field. But when it got over there, I was still watching it for a few seconds. You can see in the video where I'm kind of in shock, going, "Oh my God, this thing!" It looked like it was stressed. It looked like it was kind of going up and down, kind of pacing up and down, and then went down into the corner of the field. Now, going down into the corner of the field would be exactly where you would expect it to go, because that's where the most trees are, and the stream kind of sort of widens at that point, I think, as well. So in my mind, maybe it's just me not being able to comprehend the one that's wild, you know, that it hasn't been seen or hasn't been taken up on footage yet. Because I'm skeptical to the sense that I'm like, I must have been looking at this animal. How has it not been caught on camera? Like, I'm like going, how in this day and age?
I'm still very open-minded about your scenario of it being a recent release or a recent escape.
Yeah.
What I would say to you about your surprise at how blatant it was and how you feel, how come you're the only person who's seen it and surely somebody else should have, that is quite common in daytime sightings from witnesses. A lot of people say, a good proportion of witnesses say, I'm surprised nobody else hasn't mentioned they've seen it. Of course, some people may have seen it but kept undercover because they fear
Yeah.
ridicule, and you're seeing how sort of awkward it is actually as a witness, you know, putting their head above the parapet, as it were. But it may be, you know, that you've got to take that into consideration. It's rare, actually, for people to see them so blatant, but they can be blatant sometimes in daylight sightings, and especially the black.
Yeah.
The black, we've heard other people on this podcast say how much the black in some situations stands out. Of course, in a woodland or at the edge of a woodland or in scrub, it doesn't stand out, but against a green field or a cut dry field in summer, it really does stand out.
Yeah, and that was a big. I still have it. I know I'm going on and on about it, like, but I'm like a kid after seeing something. Like, I'm just like, the color really and the tail, just like, boom! It's just embedded into my mind. It's something. It's, as someone else was saying to me, just some of the things happened to you over the years, but like, I'm like kind of going, nothing like this has ever happened. I've never seen anything like this. To have this story, like, to tell your grandchildren almost. I know it's real cliche, but it's mad, like, because not many people have seen it. But like that, I'm going mad now to get a camera because I'd love to get proper footage of it. And I would love to do it because I'm the type of person that would love to sicken the people who didn't believe you, like, you know.
The closer it is and the more profound and vivid the experience is, it's the more dedicated people are, the witness is, to sort of prove it and get better evidence. And I think you're coming across as somebody like that. And of course, you know, the day before, if somebody said, you're going to see a big cat tomorrow, and it'll change your life a bit, you'd probably completely scoff at that and think, what a load of nonsense. Can we relive the situation when you first noticed it and then went for the camera? To go through that, take a couple of minutes to just tell us what happened. Obviously, we've heard the clip and the audio. So how long had you seen it before you reached for the camera, and then what did you do?
To be honest, as I came in, coming into the sink. I put my phone down on the counter to the right-hand side, came into the sink, saw something, possibly in my mind, probably saw a dog, and then I thought, no, that ain't the dog, like. Look back up, and in order for me to clearly see, I had to actually step back from the sink, if that makes sense, and stand up tall because I could see kind of higher over the ditch, like.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at it for what seemed like about a minute, but was probably only maybe about 10 seconds. And I looked at it, and I was just like, I think my brain just went into like, it goes into like an overdrive of, this is not normal. What your brain is trying to process this, like, what the hell is going on here, like. And then like that too, everything just, I got shivers. I mean, like I was just shivers down my spine looking at this and, oh my God, I have to get this. And I grabbed my phone, going through it and, just taking the lock off and took it off. And when you can see it in the video, I held it up. As I did that, I could see the shift in the cat had shifted from the position it was in. I knew that it moved over to the right because I could see it glance over, something black glance over through the long grass, let's say, that's in the ditch here. And then I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to see this now because it's going down the hill at this point. So that's when I decided, right, I need to get out and look at it. So I ran outside, jumped over the dog, ran outside, jumped up on, we've probably 4 layers of sleepers and like a flower bed. So we jumped up on top of that and looked over, and as I said before, this was moving. Like, this animal was like, and that's when you could hear the language and all from me. I was just like, what the hell is going on here? At that point, I was looking at the field, and I looked at the phone, and I could see in the phone that I wasn't seeing what I'm looking at. It just wasn't clear enough, and that's when I kind of zoomed in, and I sort of lost it for a second, and I zoomed in, and in case anyone's watching it, you can see the post and to the left of the post, you can see him pacing up and down. And like that too, the tail, like you can see, like it was just so obvious, like this big, massive, thick tail, like. And again, as I say, it gives you shivers, like. But it was just pacing up and down when it got over there, and you can see that quite clearly on the video. And then it goes off down to the right hand side, obviously, and it kind of dips down, so I couldn't see it anymore from where I was with the trees in my way and stuff. And that was it, like.
How long was the whole
thing happen? I think the video I got was a minute, so I'd say probably maybe the 2 minute mark or thereabouts, the whole thing.
And what stage did you think it was a cat? First of all, you thought it was a big black animal, did you? But not a dog. At what stage did you think, wow, that is like a panther?
It was, you know what, when I looked down, everything told me that's not a dog. Like, you're after seeing something serious here. Stood back, looked up, and I realized, then this is a massive, like, exotic. This ain't like your normal cat, like, because it doesn't even look like, to be honest, in my opinion, it doesn't even look like a normal cat. Like, it's a massive, long animal, like, with that tail. I knew then that what I was looking at was just, I didn't know whether it was I don't know what cats are what, like, you know, I don't know black leopards or whatever, or black panthers, I don't know what they are. I just know that's something that should be in the zoo, like, when I'm looking at it.
But there was no doubt, you didn't think it was a llama or a bear?
No.
The instant thing was, that is a large cat, not a dog.
That's one of these cats that in my mind, something's telling me that something's in the zoo, like, that's a cat in the zoo, like, that's not normal, like. It's just my brain was trying to process this, like, you know, it's kind of going, this is madness, like. It's hard to describe, actually. It's very hard to describe, like.
It wasn't in any box that your brain could take out and present.
I was kind of like just in this frozen sort of almost going, oh my God, like. And then afterwards, the fear kind of more hit me afterwards. The fear even of we have the German Shepherd here, but I have a pug and a German Shepherd, the two dogs here. At the moment, the pug sleeps outside in the summer. And you'd be thinking to yourself, would it have a go if it's living in and around this area? Would it have a go at the little dog even, like, you know? But from listening to, in fairness, from everyone in the group it's almost like a community, like a really decent community of good people where, and if I'm going to be straight and honest here, because that's all I do, is like, if someone had told me about that group of people before, I probably would have said, they're probably just people that would be into all these conspiracy sort of stuff, but they're not. They're genuinely good people that have either come across this themselves or know of other things that have happened, you know people that have sightings. The one guy actually in Wexford as well, I won't mention him in case he doesn't want his name, but he had messaged me. He's not too far from me, and he had said he had 2 sightings in his lifetime. So he's just like, he says it's the type of thing like that, you know, you like, people won't believe you, but he had seen one when he was a kid on his dad's farm. Him and his sister had seen one. Like, they watched it for ages walking off up into the hills.
Yep.
And then he said he'd seen one off of a golf course. I won't mention the golf course, but just in case. But he had seen one in a tree in a golf course, and he said he liked that too. And when you speak to someone that has seen it as well, you're kind of going, "That's exactly how I feel." That's how the way you're describing that is the way he's seen it, and he doesn't care what anyone says. He knows what he saw. Like, so it was really good to have that. It's kind of nearly like almost a support network for people, because
yeah, and of course they're relatively recent. A lot of those people who were on the group and elsewhere, when they were witnesses, there weren't networks like this and podcasts and places to review it. So in a way, you're part of a new generation of witnesses who've got an instant support network to give you moral support and swap notes with. And I think it's maybe that swapping notes, you can just hear that other people have had similar sightings, similar experiences and similar emotional reactions.
Yes.
You've mentioned a range of emotions. If you could sum up the overriding emotion or list the range of emotions that you felt then and you feel now, that would be interesting.
Probably at the time, adrenaline.
Yeah.
And a weird sort of a sixth sense of, how do you describe it? Like that you're in a moment here that is not normal. Like, this moment is is something you probably won't experience again, and you definitely haven't experienced it before. This is all new motion. This is all new hitting you here. And when you see this animal, it's like you can't. It's hard to process. And then I suppose I was shaking after it, like kind of for a little while, and the shivers I got. But then afterwards, a little bit of fear, like I said, kicked in then, because I'm thinking, I don't know enough about these, and I'm assuming if that comes in here, as I said to you before, the sheer athleticism of it, and when you look at it, you just know, as a human, if that came at you, that you've no hope. Do you know, that's the biggest thing that stands out to me. Like, it's just like, I feel helpless here. If that came at me and my child in this garden, there's that's the biggest thing for me now. And probably there's probably people listening to this that love big cats, and they're probably saying, "Oh, he's saying all this stuff, and it's not a good way to project that." But that's me being honest. There's no point in me sugarcoating and saying, "Oh, I feel amazing that I've seen this animal," and I do, in a sense, feel that I felt lucky to have seen it, but I still have this fear in me of, I don't know if this, because of the way it was pacing. It wasn't like some of the other shows that you've talked about where the animal looks back at you and you're looking at it, and there's this moment of, oh my God, and then it kind of flicks his tail and walks off and trots off and jumps over a 6-foot wall. This was like, I didn't get that sense. I didn't get the sense of peace from it. Again, probably because I'm only a father recently, and maybe my protection, my own fight or flight probably kicked in and said, what the hell?
Yeah, it's all about circumstances.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So maybe if I was a bit younger and didn't have kids, and I seen this, I probably would have been a bit more wilder and tried to run after and get more photos of it. Like, like I know my younger brother would have. Like, he was like, "Come on, we go straight down," and I'm like, no.
There's no right or wrong about it. Everybody's reaction is their own reaction from their own situation. That's how it is.
Yeah, yes, and it's probably a beautiful animal that'll never harm anyone, and probably be amazing to have around. And I'm sure, I know by what I'm saying, there's probably people out there that love these animals that probably like going, "Oh, he hasn't a clue. He's slating things." But I'm just giving my thing of how I felt personally, because I don't know enough about them. I felt a little bit of fear after, thinking, I feel helpless if this comes at me.
Yeah. Luckily, they don't seem to regard us as helpless, easy prey, which, of course, we would be. But it doesn't seem to work like that much.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Well, let's put another sort of put you on the spot. Would you like to see it again?
Yes, I would like to see it again from a distance. I'd like to see it. I'd love to see it in this field again, because I'd love to get more footage of it. I'd love to be able to say, now look. Now, even the footage I got, people were saying that's the best footage I've seen. That's clear as you like. But just for people to really show them, like, this is out there. You may slag it all you want and whatever you want to say about it, like, but this is here. Like, I've seen this. It's not an illusion. It's not. And what I was going to say to you earlier was, if the only other things I would have ever listened to about, I've never come across your podcast. Thankfully I have now, but the only time I would have heard about cats was I'd listened to a lot of Joe Rogan podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
And he would have been talking about bobcats in his garden and attacking his dogs and stuff like that. So maybe that's why I have this perception of, if this thing was to come in and attack you, do you know, that kind of way? Because I would have been listening to the likes of Joe Rogan about...
Okay, well, Joe Rogan had a black panther on his land. He lives in Texas, I think, doesn't he? For listeners who don't know Joe Rogan, I mean, Joe Rogan runs the most, I think, listened to podcast in the world. And he interviews politicians, celebrities, all kinds, and he's got a great in-your-face style that people like. And there are sightings of released pets or black mountain lions, or we've had an American guest from Texas who's written a book on the out-of-place big cat sightings in America. And funny enough, I'm going to be on an American podcast discussing big cats with that guy. So that's Michael Mays, author of Shadow Cats. Joe Rogan had one of those black panthers on his land, he reckons, and he claimed it was on a trail camera on his land. I haven't seen that footage. That was about June, I think it was, just, a few weeks ago. So maybe that's what you heard.
It wasn't actually. I'd be going down the rabbit hole of watching that tonight. I didn't. I would have seen one that he would have spoke about maybe it was before he moved to Texas.
Oh, okay.
And he would have been talking about bobcats coming into his garden. But that's an interesting one. No, I haven't. Yeah. He would do a lot of hunting himself as well, actually, bow hunting and stuff like that as well.
I'll send it to you, send a link, and we'll put it up under this episode because it's actually a podcast you can listen to or you can see it visually. So I'll put a link to that little clip when he talks about seeing the black panther. He also has a go at the wildlife body, the official wildlife body for Texas, that says, oh, there are no big cats running loose in Texas. And he says, well, I've got proof there are, and I've seen one, and people might well believe me. Now, great, you're going to do 1 or 2 trail cameras because that is the chance of getting up close footage and more clearer footage.
Yeah.
How are you going to do them? You've got a place that you reckon is a good location within the field.
Yeah. Well, myself now and the brother are eager now to get more footage, so I could put one looking out onto the field from the tree, one of the trees at the back of the house here, that would show me a good kind of area in that field, or I can put one down to where it went to into, like, we were looking down at those trees, and there'd be a great area there of where there was a bit of a trail, as I said, where it goes down into the stream. There was like a trail from an animal. Couldn't tell you what it was, but it would be interesting to put one there to see what's coming in and out of that area.
That's a kind of natural route that a mammal would take down there, going down to the stream. That sounds ideal.
So I'm going to put one there, and I'll be very disappointed now if I don't get any other footage,
I know you're on a steep learning curve, and I know there'll be plenty more that you have to find out in the coming days. But you've probably heard that and you've probably realised it's very rare for somebody to have the presence of mind to get their mobile phone camera and fire away some footage.
I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. Like, when you're in the shock, of the time, I could definitely understand you're not grabbing the phone. Yeah.
But of course, yours was absolutely ready to go beside you, wasn't it? So that was lucky. And you were on your own property. It's not like you were sort of on a hike or walking the dog or whatever. It was right to hand. So
exactly.
That must have helped. It's rare, of course, to get trail camera footage because it's a needle in a haystack, or you've seen it somewhere, put the trail camera up and it never comes back, or the trail camera's run out of batteries the time it might have come back. You'll never know. Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss, but you've got to try, obviously. Also, La, how difficult was it? You said that you could see it yourself. You were holding the camera up and realised the camera wasn't getting as good a view of it as you were. How difficult was it in terms of the distance away and holding the camera still to get the footage?
Do you know what, Rick, right? When I knew I was going on this, I was thinking to myself earlier on, I was thinking, this is like, not down, I wouldn't be a massive spiritual person or anything like that, but I'm kind of saying to myself, how did it not pick it up clear? Because I was looking at it as clear as day. And I'm kind of going, are we just not supposed to see this? Are we not supposed to have this footage? Because it drives me mad, because I'm kind of going, I'm one of these now that I know what I saw. So it would take me a lot to not believe if someone was genuine telling the story. Whereas before I would have been the opposite. I would have been like, I don't know about that. But I'm raging with the footage I got, because I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, I'm definitely getting this. This is crazy. And when you zoom in, it's almost like, I don't know, some sort of higher power is telling you, no, you're not going to get this. We're going to keep this as a, we're going to keep this as a, I don't know. It's weird.
You're jinxed, yeah.
And even you were asking about emotion earlier on, it was a very, it's a weird emotion to explain. I don't have the words in my vocabulary to explain how I felt at that time. It was very surreal. Yeah, very surreal that you're looking at this, and it's, your brain is kind of, I'd say, clicking through the thing of, am I seeing this right? Is that real? Is that something that's playing tricks on you? No. And every time you're looking, going, no, I've definitely seen that. No, that's without a doubt.
Yeah, no, I had the same. I'm lucky enough to have had one really good full-on view. It was before mobile phone cameras. And I was really amazed how disciplined my brain was to say, right, this is something different. check
Yeah.
through yourself, go through it. It's almost like a filing thing, flicking over, saying, are you
Yeah.
sure? You know, it is a big cat. Are you sure? But let's check what else it could be. Your brain is actually discharging some discipline to say you've got a chance to review what it is and to confirm what it is, but make sure you do that. I was amazed. It was almost like, as you say, a higher power took over to review it.
Absolutely, I'd agree with you 100%. That's what it's like. You're flicking through.
Yeah.
It's like, and every time the answer is no, you're looking at this. This is the big cat.
Yes.
You're looking at this. Every time you're like, and I'm like, oh, well, could it be? Even though you know the answer to the question, could it be that? Could it be? You know, it's mad. And I had people message me saying, "Oh, you know, there's black foxes in it," and I'm like, "No, this isn't a fox. Go away. Don't even go there." Like, and another fella sent me a picture of this big black dog. I don't know what the name of the dog is, and I'm like, "No, lads, you don't understand. Like, there's no point even. I haven't even delved into trying to convince anyone. I've gone past that. And normally I would with things. I'm like, I don't care. Literally, I know what I saw, and the people that have seen them in the past, when I'm listening to a couple of them there in your podcast, I'm like, that's exactly it. They've seen it, like they've seen what I like, you know, similar to what I saw. Like, now the UK, I would have said definitely there would have been like there's loads of sightings in the UK, and I'm kind of going, I feel that more believable, to be honest. I feel like it's more believable to think that they're in the UK, but possibly not in Ireland. You know that sort of way. Like, I'm kind of going, scratching my head. But it is what it is.
Just to get your bearings, you're in the Wexford area, we're saying.
Southeast of Ireland, yeah.
Below Dublin and sort of not far from Waterford, so people get their general bearings.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Going back to the problem with the clarity of the video footage, I think that is what you might call zoom distortion. It's basically the camera just cannot process it because of that clarity. And funny enough, some of my email network, my Grapevine, some of us have got the video cameras which really work very high definition on long zoom, because although I feel I'm unlikely to have the same experience again that I've had, you know, years ago when I saw that one at a distance similar to yours, I feel that if it ever happens to me again and I have got this camera to hand, I will be able to get clear zoomed in footage, which will not have the mobile phone's limitations. And the problem is the skeptics or lots of other people who don't really think about photography, they don't think how imperfect the mobile phone zoom is, you know, but they should try it themselves if they were just filmed a fox at night or filmed anything, or their pet dog or pet cat at night. Dawn and dusk, it's low light as well. At least you had good light, but you still saw the limitations of the zoom camera on the mobile phone.
The other thing is as well, you have to remember, I'm sort of shaking at the time almost with this pure adrenaline that's running. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like trying to hold the phone, like going, what? I can understand someone that's 100% skeptical in the sense that they would say, there's no footage, like with all the dash cams nowadays and all this, and there's none coming up dead and all now. Like, so I can say to them, I can say, right, I'm not going to argue with you. I can understand your point, but I know in my heart of hearts what I saw and what I captured. I know it's not the best, but at least we've something. But I have a question as well. I seen something when I was looking up on YouTube and stuff. Does it seem to be in Britain? Does it seem like there's a couple of people saying there's like a little bit of a cover up almost of? There was one guy, I think he found one. I don't know what it was, dead on the side of the road, and he was able to take a photo of it. And when he went back, he said something. It was taken away by army truck or something like that. I think. I don't know. You probably know what I'm talking about, do you?
Yes, I can believe that. I do feel things are whisked away. What I think is that there is no systematic cover-up. It's just that when people in their job as a ranger or a police officer or an army officer or somebody in officialdom, it happens in their shift of work. You know, they don't sort of phone some central command and there's some sort of central diktat to say, we cannot allow black leopard or mountain lion evidence to be out to the public. It's just that it's too difficult and too awkward for them in that situation to issue a press release and talk about it. I don't, nobody's going to declare. They don't need to. Why would they? Why would they suddenly issue a press release and say, "We'll do a briefing tomorrow on the 6 o'clock news and we'll put it, out to the world"?
Everyone.
Yeah, what's the point? It's not. It's not in their job description. They're not trained to deal with it. It's far too awkward. It's much easier to just tuck it under the carpet. It's like I think I said in the last episode, actually, one dash cam incident and 2 CCTV bits of footage. And those were, private companies that had them clear on their cameras.
Yes, I heard you saying that.
They all decided, what's the point of us declaring this and releasing this? We're going to have the world on our back, the press on our back. We don't know the answers. It's far easier to keep it quiet and just say nothing to say here, move on.
I heard you saying that their logo was in the footage or something like that you'd said. And then they were having none of it. Like, that's a silly excuse, but I know what you're saying.
I used to work for the government sector, and I know how uncoordinated things are and how you don't create a task and a job and create a budget for something that you don't need to. So I think when a bit of evidence blows up and somebody's, on duty to review it, they just feel, no, we'll just keep it quiet. There's no need to go blabbing about this. And I think that's all understandable. We'd probably all do it in our personal, professional lives if we were involved. But let me put it back to you, Lars. Say you were the farmer, or this was a private estate nearby, and clear footage was taken. Can you understand why they might not want it released and they may just keep it quiet? Because that certainly happens, and I have seen some of that stuff, and I have been briefed on some of that. So that happens, and that's not government, that is private landowners, private businesses, again, keep it quiet.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to keep this location, away. I feel that the last thing you want is journalists beating a path to the door. You will find it quite an intrusion on your life if you get journalists doorstepping you or hassling you. So there is all of that.
I've already had the local sort of newspaper contact me today.
Okay.
Now, I was busy, so I didn't actually take the call. He's probably going to listen back to this.
It's entirely up to you, and everybody's judgment's different, and there's no right or wrong. But what tends to happen is it goes into the local paper, and the national papers and the tabloids know that this topic is trending. They know they're going to get loads and loads of web hits.
Yeah.
They don't care if people are rude about you, make spiteful comments in the comment section. It's just good headlines for them. And then eventually the location might be found out, or you might get local people a bit angry. There's the difficulty. It is so tricky to manage the communication of this. But it's good that I think your local WhatsApp group have at least you've done that side of things.
Yeah, there's probably like a 50-50 kind of, I'd say, and that it seems to be. But what I meant to say to you as well is the other guy that was talking to me, you might want to talk to him on your podcast or something, so I won't say too much, but he was telling me, again, real genuine guy, nice guy, he was telling me that a friend of his dad is in the army.
Okay.
And they were called out a few years ago to kill a black panther in Wicklow, which is not too far, half an hour drive from here, a bit more like. I don't know. There's more now. I haven't actually spoke to this guy. It was just kind of on Facebook Messenger type thing. He was sending me messages, but there's other stories around in Ireland. Like, there doesn't seem to be as much in Ireland.
Yeah, but of course, doing that, actually implementing that is tricky. Who knows whether they did it or not? Did he know whether they managed?
Exactly. No, he didn't. He didn't say whether they got it.
Let's just say you heard that this one had been shot, killed deliberately because somebody decided it couldn't be allowed to roam free in the local area. How would you feel about that?
I think I feel a bit guilty. A little bit guilty. As I said, I'm not a big hunter or anything like that. I'd shoot the odd rabbit. And when I say, if somebody says, oh yeah, I'll have a bit of rabbit, and we go out and there's 20 in the field, if 2 people want a rabbit, I'll shoot 2 and that's it. And we'll shoot targets. I'm not one to kill rabbits for the sake of killing them. I'm just not like that. It's not my nature. If someone else spots this, which I think they will soon, because of where it is, and I hope it happens soon. Well, the speed of it anyway, I think they'd have a serious job trying to shoot it. But if it's a situation where I think I would feel a bit bad. But at the same time, if I spoke to the person that shot it, And if they were able to say to me, well, look, we couldn't take a risk of this. This was in and around where kids are, or I could understand their take on that. But at the same time, in my little head, if they were no threat to us, it would be lovely to see if you're going in. Now, in an environment, to be honest with you, Rick, if I was in the field where I go shooting, the fields where we go shooting, and I seen it in the distance a couple of fields away, I'd literally sit down and watch it. I would love that. But it was just that it was literally the saying, it's too close to home. It was way too close to my home. And that's the only thing that's why I have the fear. And now I wouldn't go out looking to shoot it myself or anything like that. But I wouldn't be all for someone going and killing the animal if it's not a direct threat. That being said, I don't want something to happen to someone and someone say, oh, Jesus, we should have gone after him. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one because there's no straight answer for me for that one, to be honest.
And the video, of course, is up on the Island Facebook group, isn't it? So people can see it there.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is actually. Yeah. And the photo as well, the still photo as well is on it, yeah. And you can see my original comment where I was kind of going, guys, has anyone else seen when I'm sitting back waiting for something to come back in, So you can see all that there.
Feeling your way into it.
Exactly, yeah. What I liked about them was as well, like I said earlier, they didn't all just jump on it as if to say, yeah, look at this is definitely it.
Yeah, they were cautious.
They're looking at it and they're having a chat and they're saying, no, they waited and then they said, no, this is legit. Like, it's called Big Cat Reports of Ireland.
Big Cat Reports of Ireland on Facebook. Excellent. And it is the one and only Facebook site for discussing big cat issues in Ireland, and all power to their elbow, and great that you've joined and are part of it. Right, I think we'll sign off, Lar. Thanks ever so much for this. It's been riveting and so good to hear a fresh report and your emotional response. And anything else, let us know and keep in touch. But thanks ever so much for coming on Big Cat Conversations.
I will do. Thanks a million, Rick. I look forward to listening to the rest of the podcast.
Just to clarify that the previous guest that Lar was referring to in Sensing a Big Cat Nearby was Janet, a previous guest from Ireland from episode 48. OK, on to our word of the week. It's something I'm going to struggle to pronounce, but perhaps few people will know if I've messed it up, because we have the Irish word for beast, which is beithioch. It's spelt Beithioch. The interesting point about this use of the word in Irish is that it has origins linked with the word horse. So it illustrates how beast isn't always connected with a menacing and threatening animal, but maybe a big and powerful one that can be uncontrollable and untamable. So there's an example of how beast doesn't always imply a dangerous animal that we should automatically fear. So there we are, the Irish beast beithioch, as our word of the week. We are back with more from Ireland soon, as we have an interview with the author Nick Albert, and discussing his family's past encounters with big cats. But meantime, it should be Gloucestershire next, and in fact, during the past 6 weeks or so, it's been busy with at least 6 different reports here in Gloucestershire where I'm based, all of large black ones, all at locations with a history of sightings, so the grapevine is working well and local investigators are on the case here. So, more from Gloucestershire next time. We're signing off now. Thanks again to Lar for his help with this episode, and thanks everyone for listening and supporting the show. Take care and bye for now.